Paul, we've had a few days now to think about the game at Hereford on Tuesday night. One thing we touched on briefly after that game was the expectation levels of the club. Now, I've been doing a bit of research the last day or so, and an easy one to do is look at our statistics. We've played 13, we've won 5, we've lost 5, we've drawn 3, 17 goals for, 17 against, 18 points, 14th position. If you'd said to me in August, that's where we'd be at this time of the year, I'd have snapped your hand off.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I didn't anticipate us being where we were now. I mean, on top of that, I think there's only 4 teams in the league that we've played as many games as have. The rest of them, we've got 1 to 3 games in hand on teams. So, as much as we're disappointed in the last 2 games, I think overall we've got to look at ourselves and we're in a decent position to spring from. Coming into Christmas time, it's going to be an important time. What I'm looking for the boys to do is get back to the standards they've set prior to these last 2 games. I've looked at stats. I think over last 4, last 6, last 8, and last 10, I think we sat where we are actually in the league, which is around mid-table. So, although there's teams that are better than us at the minute, in terms of stats, there's a lot of teams that are worse than us. And dare I say it, a lot of teams, when you look down at the bottom, the Gloucesters of this world, we've got to remember that teams like that have got tipped for promotion. I think we were second favourites, in the league. Second favourites in the betting table, to get promoted. So, look, expectation. I'm probably my own worst enemy because we've got a plan. I probably want to do it in 1 year. Sometimes you have to sit down, reflect, look at the overall, the bigger picture, and say we're in a decent position. Things are coming together off the pitch as well. I've had good chats with the chairman and the owner, and like I say, I think sometimes, and I'm the worst for it, Paul, that sometimes I take it personally when we don't win football matches. Sometimes you have to sit down, reflect, look at where we are, and replan and move forward from there.
Do you think that you've mentioned it, I think, a couple of times in commentaries and interviews earlier in the season? Do you think that we are punching above our weight at the moment and we've actually levelled out a little bit now? I'm looking at some of the stats I've got here. Spenamore lost only in 7 games. They've lost 6. They've drawn 1. York 1 win in 5. Guiseley 1 win in 5. Farsley 1 win in 5. Gloucester 1 win in 13. Chorley, Alfreton and Kettering 2 wins in the last 5 games. Kettering, of course, 3 away games on the trot. Blythe 1 in 12. Telford 1 in 6. So it isn't just Kettering. Do you think fans' expectations at the moment are a little bit too high, or is that just football in general?
I would never say to our fans, don't lower your expectations, because I think as a club we always have to have that ambition. I think now, when just looking at some of the clubs, the resources they've got and the personnel they've got, the history they've got, sometimes you have to look at things in a logical way. And I'm never ever going to tell my players that it's okay to be mid-table. I'm never going to tell the players that it's okay to lose a football match. It's not me. And sometimes when we've finished a game, as you'll know, Paul, I'm not the best person to talk to when we've lost.
Well, at least you do that. There's managers that haven't in the past, just run off.
Yeah, look, it's a responsibility, and I'd rather be there when we lose and probably give someone the job when we've won. I think I'm accountable. Everyone, the players, myself, everyone's accountable. When you're doing well, you take the pats on the back. When you're doing not so well, you get criticism. That's part and parcel of the game. And I'll reiterate: is if you can't handle that criticism, go and do something else. What you've just mentioned about sometimes, I think because the good start we've had, and not just the good start, but the belief in the group, expectation rise really quickly and go beyond probably. I've heard 1 or 2 things about promotion and we'll want to do it, I want to do it. Everyone's hungry at this club to do it, but logic has to come into it, and following that logical process and doing it in a proper timescale. And that doesn't mean that if it came about this season we won't grab it. We'd grab it, all right. But sometimes, you have to look where you are, have a look round, have a look at some of the clubs below us and the resources that they've got, and you sometimes have to pinch yourself. So, look, I'm not happy with the last two fixtures, especially after coming on such a really good performance and win against a giant of York City away from home. It's interesting that our away form seems to be better than our home form, believe it or not, and that's on the back of two poor away performances. If we can get back to the standards we set, probably pre-FA Cup, because I just felt as a club that we was a little bit down in the doldrums after in the manner that we went out the FA Cup.
That happens quite a bit. I think I mentioned it to you on the night at Buxton, that once you're out the FA Cup, it takes a few weeks to actually get that out of the system, and that's exactly what happened. We sort of fell back a bit. But again, though, you said on Tuesday night that you're looking to bring players in. Some would be going. That has happened. We've had Tom Unwin go to Colville, and we've got young Cooper in from Mansfield. Will there be a few more? I know the fans will be wanting a few changes. You said there'll be some probably some surprises that might happen. Is that looming in the future quickly, or is that going to be a long-term development?
Well, the ones that we bring in have got to add to us. It's sometimes when you say something, people take you literally. So I had somebody speak to me the other day, and it came across as though I was going to make wholesale changes. It's not. We've got a really good nucleus here, really good nucleus of players. So I'd like to put that, right. We just need certain additions in certain areas of the pitch that are going to help us become better. To do that, these players are going to cost money. Everyone's looking for them. We're looking for them. To do that, I've got to utilise my budget, and I've got to take off Peter to pay Paul. It's as simple as that. So I've got a wheeling deal. Myself and my staff have been working really, really hard to try and get some good additions to the squad. And ultimately, we've got one or two that haven't played a lot of football of late that we want to get out and play football. It doesn't mean Tom Unwin is, he's finished. He's going to go out, he's going to play some football. We'll come back, we'll have a look at him. He's a good young player. And, we keep forgetting that I think the squad's average age was about 23, and that's with Pez in it. Not being disrespectful to Pez, but I don't know. Pez is plus 30 years in it now, which just takes that up a little bit. So the young players, some of them, probably need that little bit of schooling, education, go and play football. But I'm quite focused on getting a certain player in that is going to change the dynamics of games. I think at Gloucester on Saturday, if we were switched on a little bit more in the top third, we could have been 1-0 up, maybe 2-0 up. The other night, I thought we bossed the game for the first 25 minutes. We make a simple, stupid mistake, and it changes the dynamics of the game, and we end up chasing the game and getting picked off. So we need to change the psychology of the game sometimes. To do that, we need to start being a bit more ruthless in the final third, and be a little bit more ruthless in our own box as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to. We've got Boston United here on Saturday. They've just recruited someone from Sheffield United, a centre-back. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's there, so he'll know Harrison Neal quite well, I would have thought. And quite a few other clubs were coming up with Kidderminster Harriers and Southport. Their form's improved as well. So we've got the Brackley games, of course, over the Christmas period. It's going to be a tough few games for you, but probably that's the best way to be, rather than having what I believe to be walkovers.
Well, I don't think there's any walkovers in this league. I can't think of an easy game in football now. You drop down a league now. Football's getting so competitive. It's like it's not non-league football anymore. There's some really good players. Look, we said a couple of games back, we were coming into a period where I think 7 of the next 9 were away from home. Paul, we've done some travelling. You've been on the bus yourself. We've done some travelling. With the boys have been getting back at 2, 3 in the morning. I'm not saying that's the excuse for Saturday and for Tuesday, but it has effect on your physicality and obviously sleep patterns and your mentality. So what I want to do is try and get us to level us out a little bit, get some belief back into the nucleus we've got. If we can add to to that group. And ease the burden sometimes and the pressure on, because there's a lot of pressure on a lot of young shoulders. Hopefully we can get those standards back. If we do that, I've always maintained that we're not bad at what we do, and you know, we'll start seeing a few smiles on the players' faces. Maybe I can probably smile a bit then, Paul, and you know, we can put some points on the board, especially with the games in hand we've got, and dare I say, sort of being in a better position in the league. I'll go back to the beginning though. I never expected to be sort of, what, we're 14th now, with 3 games in hand on teams above us. And you know, if somebody said to me at this stage, at this part of the season, going into the Christmas period, that you'd be there, I'd have taken it. I really would. I think it's because of the start we've got, the nice nucleus of the players we've got. I want to see more. I want to be hungry, but I'm just aware that I've got to manage expectation. And I mean that as a football club, because what I don't want to do, especially with the young players, is put too much pressure on them, and they become a little bit introverted and stop doing what we've seen them do plenty of times this season, which is play well and win football matches.
Okay, Paul, thank you very much for that. I know you've got training tonight with the lads, and let's hope that we can get back to winning ways on Saturday against Boston. Yeah, fingers crossed. It'll be a tough game, I know, but best of luck on Saturday, and we'll see you there.
Thank you.